Hi, I am Dr. Douglas Graves, a visiting assistant professor with the California School of Professional Psychology at Alliant International University here on our Fresno campus. A little bit about me. I've been engaged in working with the LGBTQ community for about the last 14 years, and I've been doing things such as advocacy, treatment, training, and education in the field. I am a proud member of the LGBT community, and I like to add a little of my own personal insight into the work that I do, especially in these trainings. So I hope that you can bear with me as I do that today. Really, today is really meant to be an overview of gay male issues. So as we go through, these are just really important topics to think about, to process as we begin to learn a little bit more about gay male issues. So this is really going to be for a deeper discussion and investigation that you can do on your own or through more extensive training. So the first place to kind of think about is, why should you know this? Why should you be interested in this work? Well, I think on a very basic level, it's about professional competency. To be a professional therapist, clinician, working in any treatment field, you need to know about the people that you're working with. It's ethical. It's an ethical practice when we begin to tailor our work around the clients that we see, knowing the specific cultural variables and the different issues that are important to that client. So we need to have multicultural awareness. That is really a goal for most professions, especially psychologists and clinicians in the field working with gay males. Therapeutic planning. How can you make a plan of treatment, a plan of work with a gay male client, if you don't understand the dynamics that are going on both individually, internally, and externally for a client? I really hope, and this is one of my larger goals for this training today, is that it broadens your own perspective. Hopefully this begins to make you think about not only issues that are out in the world, but issues that affect you personally and how you've developed over time. I hope also that this begins to give you a global perspective. What is present out in the world? What are the issues that are going on that affect us both as a universal human entity and also individually? I want to remind you that this is really meant to be an overview once again. These are just general topics about gay male issues that are important to know. So take these topics, use them as a map for you to be able to move forward, look at the different issues that are important, do your own research, or apply this to other trainings that you can go to. So I want to go through the list of topics. So here's our map for the rest of the day today. So what we're going to talk about first is a brief look at gay male history, and this is really a brief look. This is looking at some important points over the last century. We're going to talk about identity development for gay men, the issues around that, the dynamics that occur, and just really, once again, a quick overview, being that could be a discussion that could be a day long. We're going to talk about the effects of prejudice and discrimination, how that has an impact on identity development for gay men, and how that has an impact on the global lives of gay men. One of the impacts that we'll see, at least on an internal level, is the internalization of heterosexism, homophobia, and shame. This can really be expressed and put out in the community and can be very damaging in developing relationships, and really in relationship with yourself. There can be problems there. We'll talk about what those terms mean in just a sec. We're also going to talk about gender issues facing gay men today, both in the dominant culture and in the gay male community. We're going to talk about cross-cultural issues. What does it mean to be a minority within a minority? The dynamics and the complications that occur when you have different belief systems colliding together. We're going to talk about some community dynamics, some of the positives, some of the strength-based issues and dynamics that occur in the community, and we're also going to talk about some of the dynamics that occur from some of that internalized homophobia and heterosexism. We're going to talk about a few relational dynamics that are important to be mindful of, things that are on the minds of gay men as they're approaching relationships, creating relationships, and engaging with other people in the community. We're also going to talk about issues of wellness and health. We're going to really look at two core issues today that are really important, being that there's a wealth and a vast area of health and wellness topics that we could cover, but two issues that really you need to be mindful of in working with gay men. So I want you to begin to think about this once again from that developmental approach. And really, in identity development, we're trying to integrate parts of the self. In the gay male community, one of the areas that we begin to try to integrate is masculinity and femininity. What does that mean? What does that mean when the rules say you can be open, you can express yourself? How do you find your authentic self in that? Sometimes those parts get really fragmented for men, and the work that we do is helping them to integrate and put those together. Another area that we are going to look at is really how femininity is presented in the gay male community. And you may see a picture of RuPaul. Now, RuPaul is a drag queen, very famous drag queen if you don't know who RuPaul is. The reason I have this picture on here is really to get you in the mindset of understanding that there's acceptability of fluidity in gender in the gay male community, and there's certainly expressions of femininity that can occur in the gay male community, and that comes out in drag queens. We'll talk about who drag queens are, what is the presence and what that's about as we move through some of our terms later on.